Good afternoon, CFM. This is Coach Matt with our Tuesday workout, our deadlift day today, and as well as some shoulder accessory work to finish. So let us begin with a single 600-meter jog and then come back for a couple rounds through of a little bit of body movement. We're just gonna do a lunge and rotate on the way down, and then a crab walk on the way back. For the crab walk, if you want a little bit more shoulder work on this, point your fingers in the direction that you're moving, right? If you turn your fingers around this way, you can get a little bit of a different feeling. Fingers out to the side or neutral is the easiest way to do it. After that, we're gonna get 8 reps on each side of a dead bug, right? Laying down on the ground, you can go same side or opposite hand and foot, but get each appendage to move 8 times, and try to always remember to keep your back pressed hard to the ground and the back of your head on the ground to focus on the lower abdominals for those dead bugs. And then our last thing will be some warm-up sets. Warm-up sets of deadlift. When we get into the workout, we're gonna be doing our Romanian deadlifts. So go ahead and set your rack up so that the bar is somewhere between your knee and your hip. I like about the middle of my thigh, so I just barely have to bend down to pick it up when I do it. And then when we do the RDL, Romanian deadlift, we take one small step back. You don't need to walk a long ways away, because when you're tired and your grip is sore, it's hard to waddle your way back into the rack, okay? So the position on this is feet directly underneath the hips, a very slight bend in the knees, and then I push my hips back while I'm pulling my shoulders away from the ground, creating a really good stretch in my hips and hamstrings, and I only go down as far, right? So for me personally, it's just below my knees. Some of you guys can touch the ground, but I want you to intentionally not touch the ground on these so that you are maintaining the tension in the glutes and the hamstrings, the back, the grip, the shoulders, all of that remains in tension for the entire workout, right? And when we do this in the workout sets, we're going to be using a 3-second eccentric and then a normal speed concentric movement, okay? So what that means is on the way down, I pick this up, set my shoulders and my posture, then it's 1 1000, 2 1000, 3 1000, stop, and then a good positive squeeze at the top when I lock out, okay? And after you finish that, you can set it back down. Your grip is gonna be smoked, your shoulders are gonna be smoked, your hamstrings and glutes are gonna be smoked, right? That is the goal. There is no superset, and I also did say if your grip becomes an issue, then wearing weightlifting straps is a great option, or using the switch grip method is a great option, so that we can focus on the glutes and the hamstrings and not worry about your grip. Ideally, we should do these and train the grip at the same time, but if grip is the major issue here, or if you're not able to get a good stretch or workout for the glutes and hamstrings, then definitely use some grip assistance, okay? Next we're gonna go into a weighted shoulder supersets. And this is not intended to be done at a super high intensity, but if you want to get more of a conditioning effect out of it, then compress everything, take less rest, use maybe a little bit less weight and a little more speed, and you'll get a little bit more heart rate out of it. If you want to work more on hypertrophy, muscle building, or strength, then slow it down a little bit, focus more on the squeezes and the full range of motion of each of those exercises, and not like bouncing off the ground when we do our bent over barbell rows, and getting every last ounce of movement out of those exercises, okay? So we'll start off with 5 reps of a weighted pull-up or a strict pull-up. So if you can do 5 unassisted strict pull-ups, then try even something just like a 5-pound plate held between your feet, or a dumbbell. If you want to use the belts, if you need something a little bit heavier, use the belts with the chain attached to them. If you cannot do unassisted pull-ups, then we're just using a normal band assisted method, but I want it to be a method that allows you to get 5 reps and not 6, right? So we should be really at the edge of our ability for 5 reps. So anticipate playing with the height and the band assortment when you do those pull-ups, so that we're challenging the muscles in a different manner. And for those of you that use bands, I would like for everyone to get familiar with the way other bands feel, still using the full range of motion, and say that like 10 reps would be hard with the purple band, but 10 reps would be way too easy with the big fat red band, okay? All right, next you're gonna do 50 double unders or 100 singles with the jump rope. Next you're gonna do 1 minute of front plank shoulder taps. So these should be done relatively slow. My feet are a little bit wider, and I'm trying really hard not to rotate my body as I am reaching up and touching my opposite shoulder. And I'm just going really slowly like so, switching back and forth, feeling that diagonal line of tension from my hand that's planted to the opposite side hip, and then switching hand that's planted to the opposite side hip. And the goal is, you can't do this really because of how much strength it takes, but the goal is to not swivel your hips at all or your shoulders at all when you do that. And you'll feel which one wants to move when you pick that hand up, and you gotta try to avoid that movement by bracing your core in that position. And then the last one will be 12 reps of a light-ish weight, bent over barbell row. Light is gonna be relative, so just make sure that it is full range of motion. The barbell is going to touch your sternum every time. We stay in that same good bent over barbell row position where my shoulders are just slightly over my hips. Basically the bottom of a deadlift position with my hips a little bit higher than normal. What I don't want to see is either using the legs to jump it upward or shoulders moving at all. I also don't want to be up too high where it's more of an upright row. I want this to be a horizontal pulling movement that I do from this top of our bottom of the deadlift position, okay? And that is it for today. If anybody has questions, make sure you let us know. And I'll see you for our workout on Wednesday.